Dear students, in the last class we were discussing the characteristic features of living organisms, and after that one we discussed different levels of biological organization, and after it nomenclature, right? Nomenclature we were discussing. There are two types of names, common names as well as scientific names or technical names. So we need to give scientific name to every organism for its identification, right? So that we were discussing, right? So in this video, the continuation part of the nomenclature, let us see, that is, there are some methods are there. There are some methods are there so as to provide names to organisms, right? Methods of providing names to organisms, or these are said to be as provisions. Okay, and there are certain rules are there for giving a name to the organisms like animals, plants, viruses, bacteria, etc. Right? So they are given with two names, right? Naming an organism with two names, naming the organism with three names sometimes, right? That is the fact what we are studying now. So first one is trinomial nomenclature. Trinomial nomenclature. What is this trinomial nomenclature? It is occasionally used for naming the organisms. So trinomial, tri means three, nominal means names. So naming the organism by using three names is called as trinomial nomenclature, right? Naming the organism with three names called as trinomial nomenclature. Say for example, one example will take. So the scientific name of human being is Homo sapiens, but we write it as Homo sapiens sapiens. So this is how three names are used for naming the human being. This is the name of human being, right? In the same way, gorilla is there. Gorilla, it is named so, right? And Ascaris, lumbricoids. Ascaris lumbricoids humanis is the scientific name of the Ascaris, that is a roundworm, as we had seen in the bridge course, right? Ascaris lumbricoids humanis. Like this, three names are used for naming a organism. This is called as, this is one method of naming the organism, that is trinomial nomenclature it is named as. And second one is binomial nomenclature. So binomial nomenclature is the most accepted one, and it is the method of naming the organism. So this is nothing but bi means two. So naming of the organism, with two names called as binomial nomenclature, with two names. This was first discovered by Carolus Linnaeus. Carolus Linnaeus is the scientist, the one who used binomial nomenclature for naming the organism. This system of naming of organism was used by himself, right? So this usually consisting of two words, that is, one is genus name and the second one is species name. These are the two names involved in this binomial nomenclature. So what is genus, what is species? You know it better. Species andre prabheda, vansha, ಇವುಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಅದ, right? So here one name is genus name and another name is species name. So some examples we can take over here. Mangifera indica is the scientific name of mango tree, is the scientific name of mango tree. Here, so this is genus name and this is species name. This is species name. Equus caballus. Equus caballus is the scientific name of horse. Horse. Equus is genus name and caballus is species name. So this is how we use two names for naming one organism like mango tree, horse, etc. Right? Such kind of binomial nomenclature is used for naming the organisms, right? These are two methods of providing names to organisms, right? Now there are certain rules are there for this binomial nomenclature. For writing the scientific name of one organism, there are certain rules are there. What are those rules for binomial nomenclature? Let us discuss now. Rules for binomial nomenclature. Rules for binomial nomenclature. There are certain rules like number 1. Binomial nomenclature, it includes two names. One is genus name and another one is species name. It includes two names. One is genus and another one is species. This is the first rule. So second rule, genus name is written first and later species name is written, right? Means first of all we'll have to write the genus name and afterwards we'll have to write the species name. So this is how we'll have to write the scientific name of one particular organism. And third rule, so both these genus and species names should not exceed or they should not have less than 3 letters and they should not exceed more than 12 letters, right? Scientific name like genus and species names should not have less than 3 letters or more than 12 letters. And rule number 4, when the scientific name of organism is written, so it should be underlined if it is handwritten, or else if it is printed it should be in italic, right? The scientific name should be in italic if it is printed, or it is underlined if it is handwritten, right? So this is the 4th rule. And 5th rule, so example we can quote over here: equus caballus. Equus is also underlined, caballus is also underlined over here. Why? Because it is handwritten. If it is printed, then it should be written in italics, right? And 5th rule, the name of the discoverer is written after the scientific name in abbreviated form. In an abbreviated form, we'll have to write the scientist name, the one who have discovered that particular individual. The name of a scientist is written in an abbreviated form after the scientific name. Example. So once again, Mangifera indica is written. It should be underlined. Okay. Soon of the name of this scientific name, we'll have to write here LINN. We'll have to write here LINN. What it indicates? It is the abbreviated form of the name of the scientist which is written after this scientific name, right? So this is rule number 5. And rule number 6, scientific names should be in Latin. Scientific names should be in Latin. Why? Because so this Latin language itself is a dead language, right? So there is no possibility of changing the spellings of that word, scientific word, right? There is no possibilities. That is why it should be always written in Latin. Or else if it is in English or some other languages, it should be Latinized, right? If it is in other language, then it should be Latinized. It should be Latinized. So these are some very important rules of binomial nomenclature. Then what is the purpose of studying this classification, right? So purpose of studying classification. Purpose of studying classification. What is the need of studying classification? So why should we classify the organisms, right? After classification only, why should we study the organisms? I would like to quote one example over here. So there is a library. In that library, we have kept a heap of books over there, and it includes all kinds of books. General books are there, history books are there, right? Like that, all the mathematics, physics, chemistry, every books are there, but they are kept in a heap, right? Can you identify one particular book? Can you remember all the names of all the books? And can you search immediately one particular book what you are in need of? Very difficult. So if in the same library, if the books are categorized and they are kept in respective racks, and if all those racks are named what books they are, then whether is it very easier for you people to pick up the book what you are in need of, right? It's very easy for us to pick up the book which we are in need of, and we can easily recognize each category or the compartments of all those different kinds of books. Very easily we can recognize them, and we can study them very easily. In the same way, if plenty number of varieties of organisms are there around us, it is not so easy to study all the organisms randomly. If all the organisms are categorized and they are grouped based on their characteristic features, similarities in their morphological internal characteristic features, so then it is very easier for us to study individual organism. And if you study one organism from one group, then it is the study of the entire group, right? So then easily you can remember all those characteristic features of the animals or the plants which come under one particular group. So that is why we should there is a need of classification, studying the classification. What is the need or the purpose of studying the classification? I hope you came to know, right? The purpose is, main purpose is, if the organisms are grouped, then we can study very easily and remember them. If we study any one of the organism, then it is the total study of that group of organisms. That group of organisms it becomes. So that's why there is a need of studying classification. So just we'll glance over the history of classification. History of classification. What is the history of classification says? So what are the scientists? Who are the scientists? The one who tried to classify the organisms in their own way based on their characteristic features, right? So all those histories let us go through. One of the Upanishad, right? Chandogya Upanishad, it is said to be as, in that organisms are classified into 3 groups. What is that? Chandogya Upanishad In this Upanishad, animals, especially animals, are classified into three categories. As first one, Andaja, means these are the animals which lay eggs. These are animals which lay eggs. These are also known as oviparous animals. Oviparous animals. And Udbija is another group of organisms. These are minute animals. And the third one, Jivaja. Jivaja, these are viviparous animals. These are viviparous animals. Jivaja, Udbhaja as well as Andaja are the three categories of animals. They have been classified so in Chandogya Upanishad itself. Next scientist is Parashara. Parashara is another scientist, the one who classified angiosperms into dicots and monocots. Angiosperms, the classification of angiosperms we have seen in a bridge course. Angiosperms, they have been classified into dicots as well as monocots. This way he classified. And the father of biology, Aristotle is another scientist, the one who classified animals into Anaima, means animals with red blood, animals without red blood. Animals with red blood and animals without red blood. This way animals have been classified into two groups by Aristotle. In the same way, animals once again they have been classified into flight animals and flightless animals. This way also he tried to classify. And plants he classified into three categories. The first category is herbs, shrubs and trees. In the same way, one more category he has made under shrubs. So this way four categories have been done by Aristotle. And later after himself, John Ray is the name of the scientist, the one who gave the concept of a species. This is how the history says that how the classification of these organisms have been done. The next part of the video we will see in the next class.